similar to the Thriller in Manila. Honeys call me bigger, the condom filler. Whether it's stiff tongue or stiff dick, Biggie squeeze it to make shit fit. Now check the shit, I got the pack of Rough Riders in the back of the Pathfinder. You know the epilogue by James Todd Smith. I get swift with the lyrical gift. Hit you with the dick, make your kidney shift. Here we go, but I'm not domino. I got the funk flow to make your drawers drop slow. So recognize the dick size in these Hawkeye jeans. I wear 13s, know what I mean? I fuck around and hit you with the Hennessy dick. Mess around and go blind, don't get to see shit. The next batter, here to shatter your blatter, it doesn't matter. Skinny or fat or light skinned or black, baby, I drop these. Beneath with my me, screaming, I poppy. I love it when they call me Big Pop, but I only smoke blunts if they roll prop. But look, I got ya caught up with the drunk flow. Fuck taekwondo, I told a fofo. For niggas getting mad cause they bitch chose me. A big black motherfucker with G. You see, all I do is separate the game from the truth. Big bang boots from the Bronx to Bolivia. Getting physical like Olivia Newt. Tricks up my click dick all day with no trivia. So give me a bag roll and a bag of weed. I'm guaranteed to fuck her till her nose bleed. Even if your new man's a certified Mac, you get that H-Town in you. You want that old thing back?
Like B-I-double-T-I-E with some new R-U-L-E. Notorious, known for busting in your E-Y-E. Baby, baby, bitches know they love to hate me. How come you come, we're coming back to maybe. How close we came to coming together is crazy. How come you and your sis make similar faces? When y'all coming, y'all be crying like I'm killing y'all bitches. I know there's a bigger picture than the camera rolling. Cause I don't think y'all be knowing how this shit's unfolding. Back shots to the rear, got the Mac unloading. Gotta reload like every so often. Saying I got my swagger back. I'm looking like bitch, my swagger never left. Don't be so hard pressed to be impressed by these new rappers. They actors and the fact is, you want that old thing back.
Like Scarface and Bushwick, Willie D having nightmares of girls killing me. She mad because what we had didn't last. I'm glad because her cousin let me hit the ass. Fuck the past, let's dwell on the 500 SL, the E and J and ginger ale. The way my pockets swell to the rim with Benjamins. Another hund's in the crib, please send her in. I fuck non-stop, lick my lips a lot. Used to lick the clips a lot, but licking clips had to stop. Cause y'all don't know how to act when the tongue go down below. Peep the funk flow, really go. I got the cleanest, meanest penis. You never seen this, stroke of genius. So take off your Tim boots and your bodysuit. I mean the spandex and hit my man next. Sex get rougher when they come to the nut buster. Pussy crusher, black nasty motherfucker. I don't chase them, I replace them. And if I'm caressing them, I'm undressing them. Fuck what you heard, who's the best in New York? Fulfilling fantasies without that nigga Mr. Raw. Or tattoo, I got you wrapped around my dick. And when I'm done, I got the split shit. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Nice to see you guys here. Just something really quick. Anyone that saw the live stream yesterday, the Fullest, thanks for being there. It was awesome to finally go on someone else's live stream for once. Pretty cool. They have like a really professional team over there. It was really coordinated, really good talking about just everything related to market. We mostly talked about like macro market stuff. That's really what I want to spend my time on today. I don't really want to talk about the S&P, the dollar. You guys know the drill. We'll briefly kind of go over them, but I really want to spend time on Bitcoin. You know, one of the biggest key topics yesterday was Fullest brought out a tweet I had that said, you know, we're being essentially trapped, and I still believe that. I think our lower time frames are starting to kind of get to that point, and I think it's worth noting it. This doesn't mean that flipping bearish or I'm flip flopping around. What it means is you really shouldn't be opening huge longs at 78.9K. You've missed the move, essentially, right? The risk reward isn't there. That's more what I'm trying to cover. I'm not trying to tell you to sell your dollar cost average or say that we're going to go to 30K. We still can. But really, the point is, I think everyone got overly euphoric last week, and they're going to miss some key details on weekly close, especially this week, and it's going to cost them a lot of money. Oh, what's up, Colin? What's up, Smith? Is it Smith or Smith? Smith. Funny spelling. CSE, what's up, dude? Bearish divergence confirmed. Just one thing before the crowd's liquidity cluster between 82 and 83K could happen. What's up, Dorian? What's up, Yasser? How you guys doing? Nice to see you. I'm just gonna cover like the real quick S&P, dollar, maybe SpaceX. But guys, nothing's really changed. I still have my overall view. You know, you have that kind of breakout of what was that 75, 7600. I think it comes back down to this range, continues moving sideways, and then goes up. I think we need a longer consolidation period, especially after such a dramatic move higher. We went up 24% in like 6 months, or sorry, like 6 months, not even 6 months, like 4 months. Pretty crazy. So I think longer sideways, maybe a little bit more like sideways correction, continue higher. Still on the game plan. The dollar. So this is great, right? We've talked about this like 1,000 times. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but I will just say, you know, we reject our inverted head and shoulders. Great. We should see the S&P and Bitcoin do well, right? If the dollar goes down, S&P and Bitcoin do well. Why is the dollar going to continue going down? It's moving sideways and lower. You fail to break out. It'll either continue to range, which is good, or it'll just break support, which is what we want to see, right? We want to see 96 loss and then maybe head back down to 89. That'd be beautiful. And SpaceX. So SpaceX is still more or less following what I wanted to see, right? Nice correction there. Kind of corrected on the dot from where we wanted, but you know, originally nice pump, took us to the high. We kind of figured that we were going to drop a lot. There's going to be a lot of profit taking. The signs are pretty much everywhere, guys. Like when you have Fidelity change their investor requirements from 500 to 2K, they're just looking for someone to sell into. So, you know, I'm still looking at 100 for SpaceX, but again, like it's going to take time to get there. So, Tether dominance. So last week, obviously, this is actually really important. I wonder where we closed here. Is this a bullish divergence? Is this a lower close? Hold on, I'm going to have to open this up. Where did this go? The low is 6.841, 6.97. So this is not, excuse me. So that's not a, this is not a divergence. Close. 6.481, 6.97. So that would mean that this is lower than this, which means that this is not a bullish divergence. Funny. Interesting. Because like we said, Bitcoin has a bearish divergence, and I'll get to that in a minute if you haven't seen it or haven't seen the posts. I don't know, man. I think with the fact that this is off by like nothing, basically. I mean, it's off by 0.13, 0.13, like on the dot. I don't think that's significant enough. I'm gonna have to say that these are pretty much equal lows. I know technically they're not, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of maybe flack on that, but I think this is a bullish divergence. Regardless of the numbers, they're so close. Plus, you do have that potential head and shoulders there. I'm gonna remove some of this. I think you guys get the point. You've seen all the talk about Tether dominance potentially putting in another high. We could either do this or, another high, whatever. That's a big possibility, this head and shoulders. Something that we'll watch out for. You have a really clean neckline here. And this would give, allow Bitcoin's divergences to play out, would give us possibly another low. I like that. I like that idea. I think it would set up very nicely. This is funny because like this is off by, technically speaking, like if we get really fine detail, this is not a bullish divergence, right? This is barely below our previous low, but it's so close that to me they're equal lows, and when you have lower lows on RSI, that's technically a bullish divergence. So bullish divergence in the fact that we could make this right-handed shoulder of our head and shoulders and then dump, which would be great. So, yeah, I mean, plus I do like this. Like for a head and shoulders, you want to see something like this where you make that lower low on the neckline. Everyone thinks we're going to go lower, than we pump up, and then we dump, right? I think that'd be beautiful. That would make sense. Let's talk about Bitcoin. So, obviously, talked a little bit about this with Tether dominance. Talked a lot about it yesterday on Folus's stream. So I'm going to take what I said on volume. Volume looks 7 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't say it's bad or mediocre. I'd say it's good, like barely good, like 6 to 7 out of 10. The issue that we have now is we're forming these bearish divergences, right? You have, and I've drawn on the chart, you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? We failed to close above 82.5. We failed to close or really break market structure, which, we could definitely break market structure this week. I don't want you guys to think that we can't, but Bitcoin is notorious for stuff like this. When everyone gets euphoric, when everyone gets super confident, right? We dump. We have a reason to dump, right? We still have 6 to 10 weeks left in this bear market, right? If we look at like our monthly chart. Now, look, guys, no matter what I'm saying right now, you need to keep in mind there are 10 times the amount of macro bullish indicators than bearish. I'm just talking about like intra trend. Where could we go over the next couple weeks? Now, a couple months to a year from now, it's not going to matter. So if you're one of those people that's like, I don't care, sure, keep buying here. That's, part of your DCA, fine. We're actually going to change this to 47 weeks. Right. Move that there. But I mean, look, the complicated thing is you're going to get you're playing both sides. I'm not playing both sides. What I'm saying is there are a monumental, I don't want to say like, there's a lot more macro bullish signs than there are bearish signs, right? We're towards the end of the bear market, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing something like this, right? With Tether dominance, where we kind of had this, or sorry, not Tether dominance, with Bitcoin in 2022, where you have this kind of range and then we get that like last dump, right? And then we start pumping, right? Who's to say we can't do that now? Get one more drop. Maybe we go back to 60s, high 50s, maybe even mid 50s. I wish I had an answer on when and where we drop to. But the signs for a drop are there, right? Now you start opening like the daily chart, and now you're forming bearish divergences, right? Just like similar to the weekly. You open up the 4-hour, you have bearish divergences. I'm actually going to get rid of those arrows. I'm going to leave the weekly stuff because I want to reference that chart a lot this week. But here you have bearish divergences, right? You have higher highs, lower highs, momentum issue. Volume looks okay, but a lot of that volume's clearly selling off. 1 hour, you have divergences. So everything's starting to line up with the weekly. At least intra-term. Again, guys, intra-term. We're not talking long-term. And long-term wise, right? I think this is going to happen, right? Where we just go up. We're just going to go ridiculous. We're going to go to 150, 180, maybe 200K. Like long-term, yes. Like over a year from now, yes. The issue right now is you have this weekly that is going to take more weight than a daily, than a 4-hour, which, by the way, our daily, our 4-hour, and our 1 hour are all starting to show signs of trend reversal. So intra-trend, you could even say like mid-term trend over the next several weeks. I think we should drop. I think people got overconfident. I think people are still overconfident. I think there were a lot of leveraged longs open between 70 and 78K that are going to get wiped. Plus, just like with Tether dominance, you have this possibility. You have a giant head and or inverted head and shoulders here. If we were to stop, like maybe we hit 67K and then go up from there, right? The possibilities are endless on where that drop can happen. We could just drop down to 68. We could drop down to 75, whatever it might be. But it's there. And I think if something like this happened, we'd form another bullish divergence, right? Our MACD line would become closer to that kind of like intersection point that we talk about bull and bears in. Be good. This would be healthy. It would be good. It would make sense. We would get even more macro reversal signs. There would be even more reason to be bullish. So a move downward, and you got to think ahead here, right? I know this is kind of hard to comprehend for some of you, but you have to look ahead and say, hey, if we dropped, even if we dropped to 67K, well, we wouldn't make a bullish divergence, but we'd have an inverted head and shoulders. So if we drop to like 57 to 55K, maybe 54K, you have a huge set of bullish divergences, not to mention all the monthly indicators, not to mention all the volume, not to mention everything else that we've talked about for the last 5 months. It's just adding more to the picture, which is good. That's what we want. Plus, you know, obviously I'm biased a little bit. I want us to drop. I'm not saying like I'm ignoring what's on the chart, guys. I'm looking at the chart right now. I'm telling you that there is weakness on this weekly, at least intra-trend. So, you know, I'd like to see us drop so I can continue to buy. I'd like to buy lower. I'd like to buy in the 50s if we get there. That'd be awesome. There's a huge liquidity between 60 and 63K at heat map. I saw a post about that, which I typically don't follow those that heavily, but you have this weakness on the weekly. So it makes some sense. Yeah, I mean, last week's pump, I'm not going to lie, was really solid, like really bullish, really strong. But again, you're looking at an intra-trend pump. And to be fair, it's not like our volume outcapped the last dump. We basically dumped, moved sideways, pumped back up with the basically with even less volume than we dumped with. So realistically, we've still kind of done nothing. I know these have been decent pumps, and if you caught them, great, right? I caught most of this. I know some of you caught most of that. That's great. But like 200 days, we've been in this kind of larger range between the 60 and 80. Pretty crazy. Not a lot of action. Now, yeah, you're starting to see volume go down, bearish divergence, bearish divergence. There's no divergence here yet, which is fine, but not to mention, like, you look at Bollinger Bands, I mean, you're telling me that this is healthy. We're outside of our upper band. At minimum, I would expect like 72, 73 if we were to break 82K, 83K, right? I would expect something like that. Because otherwise you have a major imbalance. Let's talk about, and I think that's really all I needed to cover with Bitcoin, guys. It's not nothing too complicated. We're just eyeballing these kind of divergences. Now I will give a final point, and I know I discussed this earlier. If we break above 82.5, I'll move this down. We break above this level, we're changing structure, right? We're out of a downtrend. That doesn't mean we can't retest, move sideways, and then continue up from there. That'd be ideal. But we need to see a break of 82.5 before we get extremely euphoric, extremely bullish, saying that structure's changed. Because realistically, nothing has changed yet. We're still making lower highs, lower lows. Fundamentally, nothing in this market has changed. So I didn't really understand all the euphoria on Friday. Yes, it was a good pump. Yes, there was a lot of volume behind it. Yes, it looks solid. It feels solid. It's giving you inklings of what could be possible in the bull run. Some alts did very well, which is great. But market structure hasn't changed. So stop falling for all the hype. Yeah, I was going to look at ETH here in a second. And part of the reason why I want to look at ETH, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of altcoins. I really like that ETH is outperforming Bitcoin. It shows that, again, it shows an inkling that risk is starting to flow into crypto, right? When ETH starts outperforming Bitcoin, it's generally a good sign. As long as Bitcoin's still doing well, like if ETH is pumping on its own and Bitcoin's not doing shit, then that's a bad sign. But if Bitcoin pumps 15% and Ethereum pumps 20%, that's a good sign. If Ethereum has a lot of volume behind it, good sign, right? Just like with Bitcoin, Ethereum, lots of volume, higher volume than we've seen since really June 6th. So it's been like 2 months, right? 2.5 months. Yeah, almost 80 days. Pretty crazy. Two and 2.3 months. So, the takeaway for Ethereum is Ethereum has kind of broke market structure. And kind of. You guys have to remember that Ethereum's going to follow Bitcoin. I have a hard time with this because we barely closed above. We're barely staying above. I would like to see Ethereum come back down to like 1.9, make that inverted head and shoulders super clean, and pump upwards from there. Right, similar with Bitcoin. And again, if Bitcoin drops, Ethereum's dropping too, guys. Bitcoin's king. Whatever Bitcoin does, the rest of the market's going to do. It doesn't really matter if even if Ethereum's outperforming Bitcoin, maybe it drops less than Bitcoin. Maybe it makes its first higher low, which again, if Bitcoin puts in a lower low, that's good, right? That shows a lot of strength on Ethereum. Like right now, other than this, there's no there's nothing that says like Ethereum's going to have a lot more strength than Bitcoin. But if Ethereum drops to like 1.9 and Bitcoin drops to 60 or maybe possibly like 56, 55K, Ethereum has, it is now evident that Ethereum has far more strength, far more reasons to be bullish on than Bitcoin, in my opinion. And again, this stretches back from like 2019, 2020 when Ethereum was outperforming Bitcoin. And this was before like the major bull run started. This was back in like, I believe like April, May. So you have like COVID here, right? COVID pump. Everything pumps, right? Bitcoin was struggling. And I'll put a side by side. Bitcoin was struggling at that kind of like a horizontal resistance. And I think it was at 10K. Like you can already see Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. And this is a big decider, right? Ethereum kind of broke its, I guess, interim resistance and another interim resistance here. Where Bitcoin, I mean, it took Bitcoin forever. By the time Bitcoin was breaking or trying to break interim resistance, right? Ethereum had already broken and retested. Look where Bitcoin is here. Ethereum's here, right? Ethereum broke, retested. Bitcoin just rejected. Now Bitcoin went down and then pumped higher, but Ethereum is showing far more strength. Far more strength, clean volume, lots of volume. And yes, volume looks good here as well. But Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin here. And then the pump upwards, right? Yes, Bitcoin drops down, comes back up, but Ethereum just continues. Much higher percentage gain. Even this kind of like going up, right? While Bitcoin is kind of going down and sideways, Ethereum is still ripping higher. Like, yeah, you had one bad weekly candle. But other than that, it just straight went higher while Bitcoin went sideways. And even into here, Bitcoin's kind of moving some sideways during this week. And even up here, kind of sideways while Ethereum's just continuing to rip. So, good sign for Ethereum, for really the whole market, is if Ethereum's outperforming Bitcoin, which I think we got an inkling, like we got a good sight, like some good foresight. Hey, Ethereum did better on that pump. Ethereum saw more volume. Ethereum looks solid. Now, what would really solidify that is if the whole market drops, which again, we believe that Bitcoin's going to drop some. If Bitcoin drops some and Ethereum drops less, huge. Absolutely huge. Yeah, but the gain would be better on ETH if things stay like that. If Bitcoin does 3x, ETH would do 5x usually, right? Yeah, and that's true. That's true. I still won't buy any just because I want the guaranteed gain. There's nothing that's. I mean, look, Ethereum can outperform Bitcoin, but what if like China comes in and says we're using Bitcoin as currency, and they could do the same for Ethereum. They could say Ethereum as new currency. I again doubt it would happen, but I just think like if you're gonna bet on a horse, you guys have to remember, if Bitcoin wins. Well, really, think about it this way. If altcoins win, it's because Bitcoin won, right? If Bitcoin won, that doesn't mean that altcoins will win, right? Because Bitcoin controls the market. Bitcoin can go up and altcoins will do nothing, like we saw last bull run. But if altcoins go up, it's because Bitcoin did well, right? So Bitcoin can go up and alts can go up with it, or they can stay stagnant. But altcoins don't go up if Bitcoin doesn't go up, if that makes sense. And hopefully it does. And one of the biggest things for me is last week, even though like Ethereum and Link and some of these, and this brings my kind of last point of today's stream and why I don't care about alts. Guys, it's a gamble on which altcoin is going to do better than X altcoin or Z altcoin or Y altcoin, whatever, because there's so many of them. There's almost 50 million altcoins, right? And even though Ethereum, Link, Fetch, BNB, I think ICP did better than, no, it didn't. Did Mana do better? Maybe. How much was this? 22%. So no, I don't think so. Even though some of these altcoins did better than Bitcoin, and again, some is the key word, Bitcoin dominance still pumped, which tells me, look, maybe Ethereum will do well, maybe Link will do well, maybe some of these other ones will do well, but I don't know which ones are going to do well. There's no way to tell. There's too many of them. You're investing in a giant cesspool, and most of them are scams, and maybe some of them move, maybe some of them don't. I just want the horse that's going to win. Like if Bitcoin wins, everything else will win. Well, or should, or might, right? But here's the thing, if we don't have a bull market and Bitcoin loses, then I know nothing else is going to win. That's how it works. I'm waiting for Elon to hype Doge as usual. That'll be funny. So, second. So, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to conclude today with. I think this is very important to watch, right? I'm going to keep an eye on this all week. I think by next week we're trading at 75K, maybe lower. Again, very, very, very valuable to keep your eyes on. Because I think with all the noise that's going on, with all the streams that happen, with all of the podcasts talking about how exciting Bitcoin is now, we haven't done anything exciting. We pumped, great, awesome. Got a little pump. We haven't changed market structure at all. And I know that sounds like I'm being negative, but it's just the truth, right? We haven't done anything different than what we've been doing for the last 200 days, right? It'd be like if you're trading and let's say let's say you're down like 50%. You're trading, you're down 50%, but then you make 40% back. You're still down 10%. You haven't really done anything. You haven't made a profit. You haven't changed. I mean, yes, maybe you've changed some strategies. Maybe there's some things going on, but you still haven't returned to profit. You still haven't changed the structure in which your investment is in other than being down. That's what I'm trying to point out. All right, guys. One last thing. I was able to get a Binance affiliate account up. I've got it up for like 15% off fees. I'm thinking about upping it to 20%. So if you use Binance or want to use Binance, you can use my referral link for another 20% off fees. With all that said, guys, I'm going to call it there. Planning to stream Wednesday. I will not be here Friday. I'm going to be out of town. The next couple weeks, I'm going to be spotty. I'm going to be out of town here and there. But we'll keep continuing to post on Twitter or X. With all that said, guys, always remember, be patient, users management.